How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the long game. Damon Serafino here with
Clay.
Yo, wait, not the full name.
Not the full name. I don't need it.
You didn't even say your actual. Okay, when you
It's
say
just Clay.
when you say Clay,
I don't need the full
you
name.
know who I think of? Batman, specifically Lego Batman. It's like niche ball knowledge. I feel like a very like male thing. Sorry, female listeners.
Yeah, it's like a villain, right? Is Clay?
But like, especially
Is
from
Clay.
the Lego Batman, that's who I think. Let me look at. I'm pulling.
Okay.
I'm pulling up right now.
Okay.
It's like we're like Joe Rogan when he pulls up.
I want to say he was like. It's not the Joker, but I want to say he was like a clown.
No, this guy right here. I know no one else can see because you don't have it, but this guy, bro, you look. That's who I think you are.
Oh, is that the Sandman? What's his name? Clay?
Clayface.
Oh, Clayface.
Oh my gosh, that's your new nickname is Clayface.
Dude, bro, I have so many nicknames.
When I think of just Clay, I think of that.
Uh-huh.
I think of, you have to go look it up. Look up Clay Lego Batman,
Uh-huh.
and it's Clayface. That's the first guy that'll pop up. That's what I think of when I think of you and your name.
Dang.
He is so ugly.
I get it all the time. I had a great uncle, and he would talk about the store Crate and Barrel, and my name's Clayton Barrow. And so you'd say that all the time. Dude, everybody's always given me nicknames. I feel like we've talked about this, right?
I know we have.
We've talked about
this is the newest one.
I got like
though.
new ones that are like a friend called me like Clay Tony recently.
That's dumb.
And
sorry,
like
whoever that
Clay
is.
Sean, and
Yeah, that's us.
My dad calls me Clayman. Everybody
And
loves
then-
it. They
then
think it's so funny
then
that I
there-
rock climb and my name is Clay.
And then there's Claystone Construction Company in our area.
yeah, Claystone.
But no, you are now Clayface. That's your newest nickname that we can add to
I'll
the bag.
take it. I don't mind it. Whatever. I'll take it. What's that have to do with what we're talking about? Nothing.
Hey, I'm just sharing the joy of the Lord with our listeners. So someone who may not experience this today. Yeah. So does it connect? No, but there's purpose in it. So, but today we're talking about
to entertain. Try to entertain.
I'm an entertainer. I'm actually going to be Comedy Central just called.
Really?
Instead of just denied of your application.
Oh no.
I know.
That's right. At least they responded.
But actually, it was probably a good thing that they said no because I need to learn how to rest better.
Ooh.
There you go, transition. Cringe. Okay,
Yeah.
We're talking about how do we rest well, and we're talking about Sabbath and spirit and quiet place, and are looking at our schedules. So why did we think this was important to talk about?
Why do we
today?
think? I think that like rest is so important. We saw like Jesus rested really well. Obviously there was like Sabbath that was practiced like very heavily in the Old Testament. It was a part of like Jewish like customs and even law. I believe that like you take the Shabbat, you take one day a week,
Shabbat
you do
shalom,
nothing,
my brother.
you eat food, hang out with the family, and I feel like we've lost a lot of that as well, and it's, I don't know, pretty controversial on like how much should you rest. I know that there's some people that like are more legalistic than others, and not saying that that's wrong, but I don't know, there's just so much on the topic of rest and how do we rest well and what does that look like. And I know so many people in the church, they struggle with like burnout or in their normal, outside of church jobs. Not saying that like they're better or anything, but anyways, like people talk about like burnout all the time and how they're not well rested and sleep schedules and just all of it. There's so much to talk about.
I'm exhausted just listening to you list that.
Yeah, and I know that you're extremely like passionate about Sabbath, and you have like every Friday you're very strict on Sabbath, and like you take the day off and you rest and be with the Lord in your quiet place or in the secret place. And so I really wanted to hear from you, just your process of thinking when it comes to resting and how you've implemented that rhythm in the past. And I don't know, I just want to hear about like Sabbath and your walk with God in Sabbath. So like, I don't know, what's some wisdom on it? How did you get to where you are, where like Fridays are your day off and you're pretty strict on it? Just give me your thoughts on Sabbath.
Yeah, there's a lot. We've talked some. I won't go too in depth of it because we talked about a little bit of this in our rhythms episode. But like you said, Sabbath or the Shabbat, it's one day. It's not a 24-hour period, I don't think. And in Jewish culture, the day started in the night. I don't know if you can see in like Genesis 1, it's like it was first in the night, then the day, I'm pretty sure. But we see that. So Sabbath starts when the sun goes down of that first day. And then, I think it's, so like for me, I do it on Friday. So Thursday night, then I stop Saturday morning when I wake up. And so you get 2 sleeps in there and you get the end of the day. And it's just a day full of rest and for you to delight in God and for God to delight in you, where we intentionally stop and we breathe and we realize that we're not made to grind 24/7 and that our purpose isn't in what we do, but it's in who we are and who our Creator made us to be.
Yeah. How does your Sabbath actually like work? Because that doesn't make any sense. It's like you're taking a day out of your week to do nothing, and it's supposed to make you more productive? Like how does that work?
Yeah, I mean, I think first science. Science says we're really designed to work between 40 to 45 hours of work a week over the course of 6 days. And so if we go beyond that, we'll burn out, I think. And maybe you won't feel it like me. I'm a high capacity person, and I think I can do more than 45 hours a week because I think I'm better than science. I actually think some people can. I think I'm one of those people. Not everyone can do it, but I can work like upwards of 50 hours. And if I rest well, and do all the right things, like we always talk about doing the next right thing, we can like truly rest. And it's not doing nothing. Actually, it's doing things that are life giving. And what do you mean by something that's life giving? Okay, I'll tell you something that isn't life giving. When someone anxiety dumps me in the church or calls me out for being a bad leader or a mistake, anything related to like my laptop in church ministry, so unlife-giving. Or thinking about the future when it comes to church ministry, that's not life-giving. Like I enjoy my work, like that's life-giving when I'm working, but it takes energy out of me. I don't enjoy cooking, and so that takes life from me. And so on the flip side, something that's life-giving to me would be going to my favorite coffee shop, which is Sweet Bloom, and taking out a book that I'm learning about.
So if you want to hang out with Damon on Friday, go to Sweet Bloom.
You don't know which one. There's 3. So
in Arvada.
I hate you so much. I hate you so much. I'm switching my coffee shop now, and I just have what I do is and I take a breath when I get to there or in the morning, and I just take a deep breath in. And today isn't about being productive or doing anything. It's about just waste. I heard it said this way on Instagram Reels. It was actually really good. I know sometimes we get theology off Instagram Reels and we're like, it's like, this is it. And I'm like, it was actually really good. And he said that Sabbath is to waste time with God. That like blew my mind when I heard that. I'm like, that's a new one that I haven't heard. And in wasting time with God, for me, what I do is I order that chai, sweet chai or matcha, and I hold it, and I like to feel the warmth or the coldness on my hands, and start to take a moment and just slow down. And I pray, and I'll journal out my emotions. I'm feeling everything I'm feeling this week, and like what's poking me, what's good, all these different things. Like maybe I'll go through the rows, or I actually usually go through the emotion wheel, kind of write down all the emotions, feeling and why I'm feeling them. And then I'll maybe start to read, or I'll read my Bible, or I don't know, journal, or I don't know, I'll do something. I don't know that. And that's just so life-giving to me.
Okay.
So that's just
what has this done for you? Like practically in your everyday life, like throughout the week when you are at work, how has this helped you through that?
I'm able to slow down with people, and especially in pastoral ministry, I'm really able to like slow down with people now, because my burdens and everything is taken care of with God once a week. And that's for me. My cup is abundantly overflowing. And then the rest of my, I like the first 3 days of the week, John Mark Comer says, like, I can do the first 3 days of my week because I had my Sabbath, and then I can get through the next 3 days of my week because my Sabbath is coming. And that feeling doesn't come in one, like, oh, I practiced Sabbath once. It's incredibly difficult to get there, but it's so worth it.
What do you think about what scripture has to say about Sabbath? Do you think that we still need to practice it and it's a part of like biblical law? I don't know. What comes to your mind if someone was like, hey, like, I don't have to practice Sabbath. Only people in the Old Testament had to practice Sabbath. What would you say to them?
I would say you're right. Straight up. I'm like, yeah, you're right. You don't need to practice it, but if you want to experience deep intimacy with Jesus and want to experience the true rest Jesus talks about, where he says, take upon my yoke, for my burden is easy and my burden is light. If you want to experience that peace, and the peace that passes all understanding, and the peace to rule in your heart, as Colossians 3 says, you should Sabbath then.
That's good. Yeah, I was not expecting that. I was not expecting that answer. Yeah, I think that like spiritual disciplines, it's so easy to fall into legalism with them. We see them as like rules that we have to follow, rules that like God is giving us. But I think that like these spiritual disciplines, they really lead to fullness of life and fullness in our relationship with Jesus when we practice them. And it's really something like for us, not something that we have to do.
That's so good. That's exactly what I was literally going to interrupt you and say that, but you said it for me.
Dang.
Yeah. And I think to get to Sabbath, Well, I'll ask you the question first, what you think, and then
Mm.
maybe I'll chime in.
Mm.
But I think you're gonna crush this. When it comes to like your schedule, it's like, oh, I can't. I think a question that people will say is like, oh, well, I can't Sabbath because I have like too much going on, and there's always something that happens on Saturdays or Sunday. Like, well, I'm always serving at every Sunday, and blah, blah, blah. What would you say to someone whose schedule is like it's too full to do a full, let's say from 6 p.m. on a Thursday. It doesn't have to be on Sunday. Mine's on Friday. It depends on your days off and all that stuff. But like through a 6 p.m. of the first night all the way until like you wake up at like 6 a.m. in 2 days. That's a lot of time. That's like 36 hours ish.
Yeah.
What would you say to that person?
Yeah, well, whenever I'm not really sure what to say, when I'm not sure how to answer a theological question, I just look to the life of Jesus. What did Jesus do? Did Jesus practice Sabbath? What did that look like? And Jesus, he was more busy than any of us. His schedule was full. He had so many people pulling him in so many directions. They wanted him to like speak or do miracles or I don't know, come to their church, I guess, and speak to them. He was being pulled in so many different places. His schedule was filled to the brim, and in a good way, his schedule was full. But yet he always found time to rest. He was always finding time to rest. I think that it was like two situations where like Jesus was sleeping and his disciples had to wake him up to like go and help people or, I think of when they were in the boat. Yeah. When they were in the storm and he's just sleeping in the bottom of the boat in the middle of this storm. He's resting and his disciples are like, Jesus, like, what are you doing? What you need to calm this storm. We're about to die. How are you sleeping in this situation? And I think about, how he just, I believe it was right before he's about to be crucified and he goes away to be with God, to pray to his Father, to be alone, away from all of his friends, and he found that quiet place to be with the Lord. And I think that if we don't have time to rest, if you feel like your schedule is way too busy to rest, maybe you need to cut some things out. Maybe you need to have some difficult conversations with people and be like, hey, like I don't know, overfilled my schedule, overextended myself a little bit too much. I need to take a step back. And for me, like, I am busy. I do have a lot going on, but a lot of the stuff that I'm doing, it's life-giving to me. Like being in Bible study, that's life-giving. I get to be with the other guys, be around other guys. And I think that like there's wisdom in reorientating your schedule. Reorientating your schedule and finding stuff that is life-giving to you and changing some things up in your schedule.
Yeah, I agree. Same thing. It's like, same thing. It's like, will you like go out? Like someone commented in my life recently, will you like go out like like 4 nights a week? And I'm like, well, 2 to 3 of them are work stuff, and then Bible study, and then YA. Oh my gosh, YA has got to be the top thing I'm looking forward to every single week. It kicks off my Sabbath. It's just we're worshiping God in community.
Yeah, we don't have to like be in ministry that moment. We just get to relax and just receive.
Like Thursday night is church for me. Like I know that's like a hard concept for someone to understand, but like since I work Sundays at church, Thursday is church for me, and I don't serve. Like whenever there's a thing, I don't Mary, I'm Martha, or other way around. I always mix the two, Marys and Marthas up. But I just sit at the feet of Jesus, and then we go out and eat food and just laugh and vibe, and it's just a life-giving time for me.
Yeah, I see Sunday mornings as like I'm doing production. I'm kind of stressed out, making sure everything works. I'm pouring into my volunteers, helping out other people. But yeah, those Thursday nights, that's when me and Damon, we get poured into and get to worship and hear a message and be with friends and just learn during that time.
Yeah, and I think for most people that are listening that this rhythm is, maybe it is Sunday morning for you, maybe it is going to church, but
which is great. Yeah.
And I know some people, like if your Sabbath though is like if you're serving 2 services on a Sunday, I would kind of ask like, is that really Sabbath? I don't know. It depends who you are. For me, it's like it was when I wasn't in ministry. It's like, oh, I loved serving so it was so like serving those little kids or operating a camera was so life-giving for me. So maybe you just got to find what works for you. And actually I would challenge all of you to take a piece of paper, light a candle. Lighting a candle is a life-giving thing for me. So maybe you don't need to do that, but just get into the quiet place with Jesus and write things that you delight in. And for me, this is a struggle for me. I go back and forth in exchanges often. But like, what do I need to do if I'm feeling depressed or lonely or angry or tired, what is something that I can do that's life-giving that will give me rest from this world? And I can, in a moment, I don't have to think of something new. I just go to my notes app and be like, okay, I can do this thing or this or this or this. Like I can go play basketball at the gym. Oh my gosh, I love playing 21 at the gym. Like that is just so life-giving to me. Or like I said, being a Sweet Bloom, or like talking to my boy Reese on the phone, like catching up with him. Those are just some things I can do that can just help ground myself in the present moment and be present with Jesus on a daily basis. Not even a Sabbath rhythm, but just like finding rest in a daily rhythm. And when it comes to back to like the schedule, what I'll say is to live a life that is fully surrendered to Jesus. It's a schedule that's fully surrendered to Jesus. Like if you have 60 plus 80 hours worth of stuff to do, tasks a week, you're eventually going to burn out, and you're going to do things not as good and you're not as efficiently. And sure, you can do it for like one of my mentors, you can do anything for 6 weeks. You just got to make sure you rest and take a vacation afterwards. And actually, speaking of the 6-week thing, one of my mentors, she said that like every 7 weeks you got to get out of town. Not actually, but it's like when you're doing so much, when you're living in a high capacity life, you got to make sure you're doing something like for a couple days every like 7-ish weeks, every month and a half.
Go to the mountains or something. Yeah.
Oh, not everyone's as blessed as us to go to the mountains, but like maybe the beach if you're a coaster, or I don't know, if you live in the Midwest, I don't know, go pluck some corn.
Yeah, go to an open field.
Sorry, that was rude. And so, but you gotta look at your schedule, and yeah, like Clay said, you gotta cut if you gotta cut, like genuinely.
Yeah, I always go back to this quote, like it's from Ruthless Elimination of Hurry, and it says most people are just too busy to live emotionally healthy and spiritually healthy lives. And it's so true, so true. I see it all the time in the church. But I really wanted to ask you a little bit more. I know you mentioned about like the quiet place. How do you find a quiet place? What does yours look like? How do you find that place to like connect with God?
Yeah, I mean, I think it could be multiple places, but you should have every morning a place where you can go to, where you can read your Bible in solitude, like in quiet, and be able to commune with the Father, just you and the Father. For me, it's recently because it is so freaking cold when I wake up right now. It's the winter. I've just been snuggled up in my blankets. I wake up, do a little lap, brush my teeth, and then pray a little bit, do my gratitude stuff, and just start reading the Word. And that's a time where I don't have to do anything. I don't have to be anybody. There's no expectation, and there's nowhere to go. And that's like a little moment that just grounds me in Jesus for the entire day. And I know I can do the day until I can get back to that place in the evening if I need to go. And I don't leave God there either. I take him with me, but the deep communing and study happens there in the morning, and for an elongated period of time, not just like 2 seconds. But that's what the Sabbath can be for an entire day, though. And that just, it rejuvenates your soul. So when it comes to serving or to preaching or just to your job, that you can every week come to this place or multiple places, right? You have like restful things you do all week, and that you're poured into, and that your cup is full. And so you can do the ministry of Jesus all week. And you do it not from a place of, I have to do this, but as a place of that it's an overflow of your life, that you can do ministry or in your job and serve others out of an overflow and the abundant love of Jesus, not out of a place of needing to do it on your own strength, which will burn you out.
Yeah, and I think that there's some people out there where they're like, where do I find this quiet place? Like, how there's no area in my house that's quiet.
That's
I have
tough.
family all around that's so noisy. Like, how do I find that quiet place? And I think for some people it's like, man, maybe you need to like get in your car and like go to some place like Overlook or something, or just like relax in your car, and maybe that's your quiet place. For some people it's like outdoors, like the mountains.
Love
or
it.
Just being outside. They feel like they connect with God the best. It's something to where you have to like try different things. Maybe find an area of your house and like, I don't know, wear like noise canceling headphones and put on white noise. I do that all the time. Like if my house is too noisy, I'll just put on white noise in my headphones and speak to God that way as well. Just somewhere where there's like no distractions that can, I don't know, get you off track and, I don't know, make you feel overwhelmed.
Yeah. And once you leave your quiet place, it should be the first thing you do every morning. Once you leave it, you are now, we've talked about it before, but now you should be able to be uninterruptible the rest of the
Mhm.
day, whatever
Mhm.
comes your way. I think of in the book Ruthless Elimination by John Mark Comer, like you already mentioned, is that our schedules should be so orientated towards Jesus that, and it's obviously it's not every day, but because sometimes stuff's coming up, emergencies happen, right? But on a daily basis, are we able to stand in line? Like we're at the grocery store and we're like, oh, self checkout, no line, boom, go. But are we able to slow down enough to like go stand in the longest line? Or are we able to like get to our doctor's appointments 10 minutes early and like just pray
Mhm.
and commune with God in these mundane moments of the day?
Mhm.
And actually, I find in those moments that God wants to do incredible things, whether between Him and I,
Mhm.
or to tell other people about Jesus.
Mhm.
And I have a story. I was at King Soopers, y'all. It was like 20 minutes in line. Like the system crashed, the Wi-Fi crashed. But what ended up happening was because I took the slow route, and because my schedule is where it's a day where I can be uninterrupted and I can just do the slow things, and I'm praying with God, and then the Holy Spirit like tells me like, hey, you should like tell this person about Jesus.
Mhm.
And I strike up a conversation. I don't be like, where's your eternity? I don't like say that right
Mhm.
away. I'm like, get to know this person and banter back and forth, and I get to find out this guy, he was already the cashier, was already a follower of Jesus, but got to encourage him in a way to get back into a church because he wasn't in a church. And God used this slow moment to build His kingdom. And I think that in that, like when we're fully rested and our identity is secured in the quiet place in Him every morning, once a week in Sabbath, that we can give unto ourselves freely in these moments during the week. That just like who knew the random cashier at King's would get encouraged to go back to church. I don't say that to boast, but when we're in those when these rhythms are really working for us and we're delighting in God, we can really do powerful things for Jesus.
Mhm. All right, I'm going to bring up something. I think we're going to disagree on it. So I think it'll be helpful for us to just talk through it.
My Dukes are up.
Yeah, your Dukes are up. But, I really respect John Deloney. I watch his show all the time. He brings people on who are like going through it. They're struggling through, I don't know, marriage or everyday life or with their kids. And he's a therapist. Like I believe he has like 2 doctorate degrees, and he's a therapist and he answers their questions.
Mid.
And yeah, mid. Yeah, it's super helpful. I really respect what he has to say. And he was talking about people in their 20s, like guys in their 20s, what should their relationship be like when it comes to rest? And he says that like in your 20s, rest shouldn't even be a thing. Like you should just work hard. You have the capacity for it. You can like sleep and re-energize so easily in your 20s. And if you mess up in your 20s, you have your 30s to learn. And he's like, your 20s should be a time of like just trying new things, trying difficult things, learning your rhythms. Yeah, just messing up and learning from it and all of that. I don't know. What would you say to that? Because I would say I think I agree with him more than you would think. What would you say to John Deloney talking about this?
I would say he's wrong. I
Mm.
mean, I think science, like I agree with him. Like in your 20s, you can recuperate really easily and you can just sleep it off.
Uh-huh.
And it should be a time of grinding. Like you should be trying new things. Connor Grimm, pastor of Cornerstone Austin, he said that like, hey, like most people didn't start their like main thing until their 30s, or like Tim Cook, who even is Tim Cook? That's a made
Tim
up
Cook. I
name.
think he's a CEO.
The Apple
Tim
guy.
Cook. Yeah.
Like he didn't start that until like late 30s, and like all these like people like who have these are really successful failed like 5 times of opening a business before they like launched their business.
Mm.
And I agree with that. We should be trying new things. What I disagree with though is that we can just rest when we're dead, or we can rest later, because a theologian I really respect, K. Smith, says you become what you love. And so if our rhythms are set in a way where we're never resting, we're never going to learn to, I think, truly abide at the feet of Jesus. And that there's a deeper intimacy that we can find with Jesus when we're slowing down. And I think that's a way of the world. I think like the world, like that's Western culture, like grind and open this and be an entrepreneur and work a ton of hours and be better than everyone else. Like that really, like there's like that side of like the David Goggins talk, TikTok.
Mm.
And I think there is like good truth in it. We should be grinding. We shouldn't be lazy. We shouldn't be playing video games, thumbs up our butt. But if we don't learn to rest now, when our brains are still developing, we're not just going to all of a sudden just pick up a habit out of nowhere, I don't think. And
Mm.
to me, what's more important is it to grind and to like, be successful. And there's a balance to all of it. Like we're successful and we grind. But what I would say is that we want to be healed from the things of our past, especially I know for me, there's things that through Sabbath, God I'm able to slow down enough to focus on my emotions, to become spiritually and emotionally mature. There's things that I find deep, deep, deep things. And I've shared with things that I've like, oh, like I found this thing in my like family tree and because of this person that I have this tendency and I'm actually start doing that. Like, and I'm able to slow down and have this crazy self-awareness the Holy Spirit's able to reveal to me that when you're not resting and when you're not slowing down, I think you miss those growth edges, and then I was reading Pete Scazzeri's Emotionally Healthy Spirituality, and he didn't learn until his like mid 40s or 50s that because he wasn't slowing down and resting and becoming an emotionally mature Christian, that he was wanting his wife to be his mom and not his wife just to be his wife. And he was not able to slow down. He was so unhealthy. He was so burnt out that he was just like, he didn't understand what he was really looking for and longing for. And so there's truth in both.
Got it. Yeah, in planning this podcast last night at like 11 p.m., I was thinking through it, and I don't have like a specific day of the week where I just rest. I don't have like a specific Sabbath, but I do have, like, I go to bed on work nights at the exact same time, wake up at the exact same time, and I have that as a rhythm. I don't know, I've had certain times where like I'll go to bed at like 12 or like 1 at night, and I'm just the next day it's ruined. And so I've learned like those rhythms. And then Sunday after work, I always have to take a nap. Like I take a nap and like recover my sleep, and that helps me throughout the rest of the week. But I don't have a specific day where I practice Sabbath where it's like, man, I need to rest on this day, and I don't feel burned out, and I have other things that are like life-giving in my life that helped me, I don't know, be the best me. And I feel like I'm the best me that I can be. And I don't have a specific day. I don't know. What are your thoughts? What do you think on that?
Yeah, I think one thing, like, at least I think you saw it today because I was a little tired this morning. Like, for me, how do I know I'm burnt out? I think let me start there. How do I know that I'm burnt out? How do I know that I'm tired or I'm not working at 100%? For me, it's little tiny telltales. The first thing that starts to go is my creativity. And that's like science proves that. One of my friends, she said that like if you're not unable to do creative things, you're probably doing too much in your life. And able to be creative and to laugh and all that, so because that's a part of our brain. Like we have like the right part of our brain and left part of our brain. I'm not a psychologist, but when we're creative, it engages the left part of our brain. But when we're task driven, we're only using the right part, which is kind of like wisdom and discernment and tasks and stuff like that. But when we get to engage the other side, like there's rest in that. And so I know I need to take some time off if I'm unable to like color. I don't know. Or I'm like getting frustrated at it. And then also too with the anger, if I'm getting really, really angry, that means I need to like go and spend like a day off or something. I need to stop what I'm doing immediately and rest with Jesus. And like I said, you don't have to. I just think there's overwhelming benefits from it. Like there's just so many positives that I think God intentionally designed this world to work in certain ways. Like, and I think the Sabbath is one of them. And so, like, yeah, you don't have to, like, definitely. But for me, but once you do it, I don't think you can go back.
Okay. I think like the biggest thing for me is I don't want to have a specific day where it's like, no, I'm not doing anything on that day. And then my friend invites me to his birthday party, and I want to be there. I want to, be at his birthday party, even though I may have that rhythm of Sabbath. Or I don't know, I just think about like if my friend is like speaking at church for the first time, he's like, hey, can you come? And I'm like, sorry, I can't because I have Sabbath. And I don't know. I also want to be there for my friends and be there for people around me and break my Sabbath to like be there for other people. I don't know where do you draw the line between like the strictness of your Sabbath?
I say no, like straight up. I say no. If someone was
Dang.
like, if I have like a volunteer and they're like, oh, I can only meet on a Friday, and I say, sorry, I'm busy. I just tell them that. Like I don't tell them it's my Sabbath. Most people know, but that.
What if it's one of your close friends? and they're like, it's my birthday.
Oh,
what would you do?
But that's completely different though, because to me, there's certain people that like check like a life-giving list. Like there's people that I like will absolutely not hang out with on a Friday, like 100%. And they're on their name's on a list. I'm checking it twice. It's coming to town.
That's crazy.
But if someone who's really a close friend, like I'm gonna be there, you know. But also too, I'm gonna like organize my day. Like one thing I like to do, I like to go hiking. So maybe on a Sabbath day where it's your birthday party, and we're close friends, so you're in the life-giving list. What I would do is I probably wouldn't go hiking. I'd do like all this super, super spiritual stuff. And then like, to me, hanging with people is really like fun. But if someone was like, oh, hey, like I want to go to another like church service, I would just say no. I know too that like a lot of the times I'll turn off my phone for that period or not be on my phone. People are like, what if you get an opportunity? It's like, I would rather be nowhere else than in the presence of the Lord in this moment. And that's what's going to sustain me to be able to pastor the church this week and to live out my calling. And so like the answer is going to be no for me. And it's like crazy. And it's taken me a long time. There's been some Sabbaths where I'm like so anxious, I'm going to miss out. And so I'll turn on my phone and then realize like I end up like seeing work stuff and getting more anxious. But I'm the best me when I practice Sabbath and I turn off my phone and I have a plan. And I know it's just like such an unorthodox thing, but I don't think we're supposed to look like the world either as Christians.
Yeah, I think that it's a balance. I'm not saying that like you're wrong or that I'm wrong. I think we've both just found like what works best for us, making sure that we're not getting burnt out. Like what plans have we like implemented in our lives that make us the most productive or the most helpful or the most close to God. I think that's what wisdom is. It's just finding a balance between what things are. So yeah, I think that if you're feeling burnt out, if you're always anxious all the time, if you don't feel like you're in a good mood all the time, if you're struggling in life, maybe it's time to like take a step back and think about like implementing rest sometime in your week. Maybe it's a Sabbath or finding that quiet place with the Lord to talk to him, a place where you can like pray to him or read scripture. I think that there's so much wisdom in that. And I have that, just to be like, I have that. And I have this, I have a certain place, a quiet place where I can be with the Lord and feel like I connect really well with him. And I think it's so important to find that place to be able to reflect on your week, heal from your week. I've been doing a lot of research right now on like trauma, for my degree. And I've been finding all this research that talks about like worship and singing and praising to God that heals you from trauma, heals your brain. And obviously sleep heals your brain as well. And so if you're feeling like you're constantly, that trauma's following you or anxious or depressed or just not doing okay, maybe it's time to like say no to some things and to rest and to find that quiet place with the Lord and to worship him. Maybe implement like gratitude practices or just find something, maybe you try something and it doesn't work. Well, try something else. I believe that there is a way to live a healthy life for you. If you're struggling, if you're going through that, I feel like there's someone out there who needs to hear that. Like I've been in certain times of my life where I felt like everything was terrible and everything's just going to be terrible and there's no bright future. But really, I believe with rest and prayer and talking to God, there is a bright future and you can heal and God can do things in your life that nobody else can. He can heal you in ways that nobody else can, that are outside of your scope of understanding, and he wants to heal you through that. So that's all I got on the topic. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. Man, thank you for just hearing this. We're praying for you guys that you would find rest, that you would find healing, being with the Lord, once a week or multiple times a week, and just healing through whatever you're going through. Like, comment, subscribe, follow us on Instagram. That really goes such a long way when you guys do that. And we'll see you next week.
See you.